have been some new developments in New Orleans, where 10 people died overnight after a vehicle drove into the crowd. Charlotte McDonald-Gibson is a US correspondent for The Times and the Sunday Times, and she joins me now. Charlotte, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. Charlotte, there's been some confusion over whether or not this is a terrorist attack. And after some of that confusion, the FBI is now saying it's investigating it as a terror incident. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, we got confirmation from the FBI in the last 15 minutes or so, confirming that they are investigating it as an act of terrorism. We'd already heard that from the mayor of New Orleans about an hour ago, just over an hour ago. But we had some contradiction from the FBI at the time, which is probably, they need to put together a certain amount of evidence. They need to sort of look into motive before they can make that call. They've made that call now. They say they are investigating it as an act of terrorism. They've also confirmed that the suspect is now dead. Again, that was something that we didn't know a little while ago, but we have had that confirmation from the FBI and a number of police sources as well. So the attacker has been killed by the looks of the accounts and footage from the scene, shot dead by officers after crashing this big pickup truck that he had driven down a number of blocks of Bourbon Street at about 3:15 this morning.
Yes, I understand from what I've seen on US news alerts that he died after a firefight with the police. I mean, they must have been extraordinary scenes with him opening fire on the police and them opening fire back.
Yes, I have watched a number of these videos, which obviously it's important to say we cannot verify at this moment, but they're quite consistent in what we see, which is this big white pickup truck. It's come to a halt. It appears to have crashed into something, and the footage then shows officers surrounding one of the doors of this pickup truck, guns raised. There are shots fired. Again, as I said, it's shaky footage, difficult to really make out what's happening, but it does look like there was a shootout on the street in the moments after the truck crashed, because there would have been a huge amount of police present in the area at that time in the morning, because it was just so busy, so full of people, and there's so many tourists in New Orleans at the moment because there's a massive college football match in the evening, so it would have been on heightened security alert. So there was plenty of police officers on the scene.
Well, I mean, that does raise the question as well, Charlotte. I mean, it was 3 o'clock in the morning. New Orleans is not an early town. I've been there myself. It's a party town, and as you say, there's a lot of people there for a big college football match. It would have been busy. There'd have been a huge police presence. How on earth was someone able to drive a huge pickup truck down a very busy street and into a crowd like this?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question that the police authorities are going to have to answer, especially seeing as we have seen similar attacks in Europe at a Christmas market in Germany not that long ago. So it's not like we haven't seen this method of a terrorist attack, very, very recently and a number of times over the past years. New Orleans does, I was there a couple of months ago, and they do have these bollards on Bourbon Street, metal bollards, which are meant to prevent cars from driving onto Bourbon Street because part of it is pedestrianised. I think there are questions being raised about whether or not those bollards were up or down when the attack took place. A number of eyewitnesses have said there were just these more flimsy temporary barriers which a large truck would easily plough through. Again, this is eyewitness accounts coming from the scene, but there has been quite consistency with people saying, well, we were surprised the bollards weren't up. So I think that's one question that is going to come up. If they weren't up, why not? And how could this have happened when the indications were that there should have been a heightened state of security?
Yeah. Charlotte, is there any more news on the casualties? And do we know were any of the police officers injured in that shootout as well?
Yes, there were 2 police officers injured in that shootout. Police officials are saying that their injuries are not life-threatening. They are being treated in hospital. Very basic information at the moment. We don't have any details of the 10 victims. Again, there's speculation, but we would obviously not comment on that until it's confirmed. We're expecting another official briefing in about 40 minutes. So at that point, perhaps we will learn more about the victims and crucially as well about who the suspect is and what their motive might be, because I think that is a question that everybody wants the answer to now, especially as we have this big event coming up tonight, the Sugar Bowl. What was the motive? Are there other people involved? Should people in New Orleans remain concerned?
Yes, especially now that it has been confirmed as a terror incident by the FBI. I think that will make things incredibly tense in New Orleans. Charlotte, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. That's Charlotte McDonald-Gibson, who's the US correspondent for The Times and The Sunday Times. And we will, of course, bring you all the latest in that story as we hear more, particularly after the upcoming press conference later this afternoon.
moment of realization.
No, can you hear me? Okay, good. No, so
I love you and Amy's coordinating outfits for the
Parade.
parade.
I don't think I've ever seen as many Orleans Parish Coroner's vehicles at any crime scene, this being what's being called a mass casualty event here in the city of New Orleans, and just about every law enforcement agency here in the region.